this is not the show about Turner that they did in 1975 when he turned 200. Turner, from the title of the show, has always been contemporary. He's always been reinvented and exciting. This is the Walker in 2025, and we are gonna do something different. I am Dr. Melissa Gustin. I am the curator of British art at National Museums Liverpool, and I work across the Walker, the Lady Lever, and Studley House. And we are here to talk about the upcoming exhibition, Turner Always Contemporary, at the Walker this autumn. This exhibition is one of a whole series of exhibitions happening around the world because the artist Joseph Mallord William Turner, quite a mouthful, JMW for short, is essentially having his 250th birthday this year, despite having been dead since 1851. So we at National Museums Liverpool have this amazing collection of Turner works. We have paintings, we have watercolors, we have prints, but we also have an amazing collection of modern and contemporary painting by artists who thought about Turner or were inspired by him or were reacting against him in some way. So it seemed like a really good opportunity to do something exciting with our collection in this major anniversary year, but to do something a little bit different, a little bit more fun, and something very Liverpool. JMW Turner was born April 23rd in 1775, but Turner from a very young age showed what they would call at the time autistic promise. And so from a very young age, he was copying other people's prints, landscapes, and his father would charge a shilling to be able to come see them in his shop, which at the time was a lot of money to come see a 10-year-old's drawings. And then right at the beginning of the 19th century, so around 1800, 1807 really, he completely changes landscape painting and marine painting, so seascapes, with a series of paintings that he showed in London that just blew everyone's mind. One of his most famous paintings, The Fighting Temeraire, which you might know from one of the James Bond movies, is also on the back of the 20-pound note. So he's just quite literally everywhere, and his works were so accessible to people because he gave them to the nation when he died in 1851. And so most of his paintings are at Tate or they're at the National Gallery. At National Museums Liverpool, we have this core collection that isn't necessarily representative of his entire body of work, but what we have is a really interesting group that tells some interesting stories. I really wanted to include contemporary art in this because I think that what makes Turner really interesting is the ways that subsequent generations of artists have used him. And it's kind of cliche now in art history to talk about this in some ways, but I think for people who don't spend their whole lives reading T.J. Clark, they will not necessarily expect these connections, and that's kind of what I'm hoping for. So Monet writes about Turner and the ways that seeing Turner's paintings in London when he came to London changed his own painting practice. The Pissarro family, Camille and Lucien, were obsessed with him and wrote these letters back and forth about, oh, you know, Lucien, you really must learn to paint like Turner, not the other English watercolorists. But what that does to put something like a Damien Hirst next to a painting by Turner made in 1849, give or take, you give people the opportunity to see what has changed, but also what artists 200 years apart both find interesting. And so to be able to put these things together in ways that people maybe wouldn't have thought obvious, I'm really hoping that that brings something new to our understanding of Turner, but also maybe changes the way people feel about contemporary art. Not just me and sort of the ghost of Turner trying to put this on. It is this huge, it's really an international, multi-person sort of machine to put something like this on. And it takes between 2 and 5 years sometimes for a show this scale. I think the project team is something like 35 or 40 people. All of these different teams, you have the curatorial team, you have exhibitions who manage everything, then you have our registrars who make sure that we're conforming to our requirements as a national museum. Then you have, the digital team who do all of the content that we put out, and our wizards. We have marketing who make sure people know about it. We have press who make sure that it gets out in the newspapers. Learning who put on a really fantastic program for families or adults. You have development who help us get fundraising. And those are just the people who come to the meetings. And then within that, everybody speaks to their own teams.
It's Hammer House of Horror, isn't it? We're humidifying the paper prior to washing. We do that really so it's not so much of a shock to the system, to the paper once it goes into the bath of water. My name is Keith Oliver. I'm the Senior Paper Conservator here in National Museums in Liverpool, and I'm currently working on the Turner exhibition. These are quite typical problems that you find with paper conservation really. Works that have been put into mounts which aren't museum quality, so we need to look at rehousing, but also we've got issues with how they've been attached and what they've been attached with. So we're trying to reverse some of the problems. These have been mounted, we think, in the 1950s possibly. The works have been stuck down with tape. We don't know what the tape is. It looks almost like it looks like some sort of electrician's tape, which is not obviously museum grade. We tend to come across works that have been stuck down in the past, either gum or annual glue, which we can remove, usually with heat or moisture. This one so far has resisted everything that we've got, so it's proven to be pretty tricky. Like all surface cleaning, there's processes that you go through. Tend to use grated eraser for the first initial stage, then work your way up to something slightly more firmer. You've got to be very careful, because if you've ever tried grating an eraser, it's far more difficult than Parmesan. The cleaning will be done really on the areas where they've been handled, which is the outside margins of the object. Things you wouldn't clean on the image area. Some people think conservation is that to be unraveled, it ends with you, but you're part of the process, and things change, techniques change, methods change.
I'm Rebecca and I work in painting conservation. This is Brett. It's got some surface dirt and there's a couple of sort of tiny blemishes in the sky that I quite like to just retouch. Very, very minimal. This is Neptune Tortoise by Watts. Again, it's the frame is in good condition actually with this one. It's got some minor loss, but it's pretty good. And the painting is fine, except if you can catch the light to see, the glass is filthy. She also suggests that the paint surface might be filthy. So this is just, again, very minimal. Just taking it out of the frame, cleaning the glass, surface cleaning it, and I think it already brightened the painting, which is great.
Things are going great. We are exactly where I would hope to be at this point. The catalogue is written, the layout is coming along, one of the galleries is fully painted. Everything is really exciting at this moment. The big change is that we have a different Damien Hirst shark coming in. Originally, we had wanted one big formaldehyde piece in 3 parts, but because the physical structure of the building couldn't take the weight of a 3.5-ton shark, because this part of the building that it would be in is from 1933 and they didn't have conceptual art back then, we now have a piece called Two Similar Swimming Forms in Endless Motion, which has actually a bigger footprint, but it's 2 small sharks in formaldehyde tanks swimming in opposite directions. But it has a really interesting conversation and a different relationship to the space overall and to the other works around it, including a Damien Hirst painting, a Maggie Hambling painting. So I'm really excited about that change. So we're including things like Doc Martens, a sweater from Bershka, some Louis Vuitton bags that we have borrowed from Jeff Koons, because they talk about the way that art doesn't just exist on the gallery wall, they don't just exist in our storerooms. These are things that people feel emotionally invested in, and they are part of the way that generations of people have formed their identity or expressed their creativity, their relationship to culture. I am anticipating a small number of people complaining, but that is, I think, a sign that I've done my job right, that I have challenged the way people expect to see it. The most exciting bits are still to come. Now that all of the paperwork is done, thank God. I can focus on things like layout and nitpicking the order of watercolors, and then the best bits are framing and hanging and doing the install, which is the part where it all really comes together.
space has to feel a bit different, weaving Turner with contemporary art. He was definitely ahead of the game and he pushed boundaries the way he worked, and I'm hoping that people will see that as they look at the other works that we've chosen when they sit side by side. We are playing a lot with the lighting in the gallery to give us that drama and a little bit of atmosphere, but also being mindful that the focus is the artwork. At the end of the day, we're just creating the sort of wallpaper to it. It's not every day you hang an exhibition with a Turner next to a Hirst or a Bridget Riley. So we had to really think about that, and that's where the pacing came in. And when we started to see those contemporary works, I think it pushed us a little bit more with the design. I think if you come away from this exhibition inspired, wanting to know more, surprised even, then I've done my job.
When I heard the exhibition was going to be more contemporary rather than traditional Turner, it made the whole process much more exciting and kind of gave it another angle. The marketing process is very collaborative, quite creative, but never without its challenges. The main challenge was finding the balance and making sure the marketing appealed to both traditional Turner fans, as I like to call them, but also a contemporary art audience, as the exhibition is super contemporary with some really exciting contemporary works in. One of our other challenges was that there was a lot of other Turner shows opening this year, but this show feels very different to the others, and I think people who possibly have Turner fatigue will come into this show and it will feel very fresh and very different to the others.
The minute that that first crate opens and you see this thing that you have spent 2 years sending emails about and doing all these delicate negotiations, that's when it feels real. Oh my gosh. Go. Oh my gosh. The first loan is unpacked. This is one of my absolute favorite things, is when an artist loses a brush hair in the paint. That is genuinely, it's like that and finding a fingerprint are my favorite things in paintings. It's like it's living, it's exactly, it's like a trace of that artist. And the fact that it was produced and that, you know, their brushes fell apart and they couldn't be bothered to pick it out. Some of the watercolors have like fingerprints where you can see that Turner's been smudging things. Oh, it's just really lovely. So this is from the 20s, which is, you wouldn't think to look at it, there it's 1919, that it's that late, and it looks so much like sort of a late Impressionist, post-Impressionist piece. But he lived in London, not far from where Turner lived, in fact. So it's a really just, I think, a really fantastic sort of midpoint in that conversation about how Turner kept being influential for so long. Putting stuff up. These are the plans. These are my obsessive color-coded plans that currently control our life. So yeah, so we're on one of the big star walls now, which is very exciting. That's this wall. So the Wreck Boy goes bang in the middle. But yeah, we're moving right along. This time next week, there will be a shark right here. So this is the wall of fake and copy Turners. So that is our Fighting Temeraire, which apparently was supposed to be the story that we were told, or they were told when they acquired it, was that was the original study taken on the site. The great man was so moved by the sight of the old ship being towed to be broken up that he ripped off the closest paintable surface, the top of a bonnet box, and dashed off the color study in sort of one go. He was in France. He didn't see it happen. It's completely fake. I love this one. It's very clearly not a Turner, but this is in a section about copies and fakes and reproductions. So it's a really interesting little thing about how the cachet of Turner is so powerful that you can sort of sell this many copies and forgeries, and then you've got them on the £20 note. 2 tables, and this one will be lit up, and there will be tracing paper and coloured pencils so that you can trace or colour. And the idea is that people can sort of think about Turner and copy and trace and study, and it will be a really nice little interactive section. That first minute when you see connections start being made in real time, that's the bit where it's like, yes, this has all been worth it. Everybody has worked so hard to pull the whole thing off and to make something really special for our visitors.
It was quite exciting to see contemporary works, especially the works we have got, especially the idea that Turner has inspired these artists many, many years later.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's the key is the fact of Hillary's influence, and say people have made a connection between that work and maybe some impressionists, but they really didn't connect with the more recent stuff like Jeff Koons's and Damien Hirst stuff. But now seeing it and then connections being brought together, people have been really fascinated by it, and it's probably given contemporary art some extra energy now from the back of this for some people, certainly.
I want visitors to take away a tote bag and a pencil and a mug and a tea towel and a catalogue. No, I'm joking. I want them to take away that art has relevance, that it matters. You know, what was painted in 1807 can still speak to their lives today. I want people to also feel a sense of ownership. We are a public venue. The Walker is a national collection. I want people to feel like these are their Turners.